how come I'm paying for candy when, and she said, because you're kids. And, and I spoke and said, he gives it to us. And he was charging my mama and daddy for it.
I see. Huh.
So.
So if your mom was bringing groceries back for this big family, was she carrying a lot of groceries? Is that a lot? That seems like a lot of groceries.
Yeah.
How would she carry that many groceries?
I don't remember. Of course, they bought like the beans, potatoes, and different things in big sacks. And that was once a month. And my daddy would bring them in the truck or in the car.
Okay. So when you say, so your mom might just be going for a few things when she's walking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a picture in my head of what that would be like. And politicians would just stop and.
Yeah.
She knew they were politicians. Did they say who they were or how?
Yeah. They would tell her, "Yo soy Gonzalez" or whatever the person was running or voting for. And my mother would say, "No, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I've carried these things all of my life, and I can do it again. Or I can still do it," something like that.
And it said, Susanna wrote that you don't think your mom ever voted?
I don't remember if she did or not, because my mama stood up for herself.
Yeah, she didn't speak English.
Well, she didn't speak very good English.
And
she spoke better than Daddy did.
And did your father vote? Do you know?
I think so. Yeah, because I remember taking him once. We used to go to the little school to vote.
So if you can remember growing up then, because women voting was very new.
Yeah.
Did you remember thinking much about politics or voting back when you were young?
I guess not, because I never thought of anything about it. I don't even remember when because I don't remember even voting when I was young.
Well, I'm trying to remember, because remember it used to be 21 and then they moved it down to 18, but I think that was in the 70s, 1970s, around there. That's how it affected me, I know. So I'm guessing that you would have had to have been 21 when you were first eligible to vote, right? Do you think?
I guess so.
And where would you have been living when
in
you
Magdalena.
Still in Magdalena at age 21?
Yeah.
What was going on back when you were about that age?
God, I don't remember.
Were you married yet?
All I remember was living in my mama's house when I was about between 9 and 10. Some little nun come in dressed in black to the house, and she wanted to speak to Sarita, and that was me, to teach religion. And I got several kids, and she even bought, I think Susan's got the book that I asked the questions out to make First Communion.
So like catechism, you're teaching catechism?
Yeah.
Okay. So was that a job you got paid to do, or did you just?
That's volunteer, helping the priests and the nuns. Well, we didn't have nuns, but.
Well, who was that nun? Did you know that nun?
That nun came from Albuquerque. To Magdalena. And I guess the priest from Magdalena told him, I think their name was Barrett. Something in my mind said like Barrett.
Well, there's a Barrett.
B-A-R-T, I think it was Barrett.
Why do you think they asked you to do that? Were you known for teaching?
Well, I used to go to Mass. Mama and Daddy and I went to, all of us went every Sunday, but during the week we my mama and I went to Mass every day.
You went to Mass every day?
Mhm.
And the other kids didn't? Or were you weren't that much older than them, right? Or that was something that was more important to you?
Well, it was important because my mama used to take us, and two of my brothers, Jimmy and Pete, were altar boys. They helped the priests.
What's the name of the church that you went to?
Mary Magdalena.
Oh.
And all I remember that in one corner there was a big red, white Sacred Heart. I mean, really big. And up to the date, I still see that big Sacred Heart.
Like it's a heart with the thorns and.
Like this one, Mom?
Yeah.
Oh, it's with
The image of the
Jesus?
Sacred Heart. So it's Jesus that shows his heart.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that many times. So do you think you were teaching catechism when you were about 21 or so? When did
It might have even been sooner than 21.
When she was really young, they came
Because
together.
I was young, and then I don't remember how many, 21 kids or something like that, boys and girls, and I taught them the religion, and got them ready for the first communion, for the what's the other one?
Confirmation.
Confirmation, and in the month of May we all said the rosary, the kids and me, and at the end of the month of May we crowned the Blessed Mother. I picked out some little girls and little boys with baskets with flowers.
Yeah, we did that.
Uh-huh.
I went to Immaculate Conception here in Albuquerque, St. Mary's. That was a big thing for us to be the May Queen and with the flowers. Yeah, that was a big thing. Well, now when do you leave Magdalena? Were you in your 20s then, or?
I think I was 22 when I got married, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, it might say it in here, but so your husband was working at the CCC camp near Magdalena.
Oh, yeah, they were there. He was already in their service, but they were knocking the Susi train police off and carrying the stuff to Albuquerque to use it at the camp where he was stationed.
Well, no, I'm not sure I understand. So, what was going on in the camp? What were they working on? What project were they
They
part
were
of?
tearing it apart.
Tearing what?
The CCC camp.
The CCC camp.
Oh, they were tearing it down.
Yeah.
And taking the materials to Kirtland Air Force Base. That's where he was stationed.
Someplace.
Oh, wherever.
Kirtland or Sandia Base.
He was in the military?
Oh, yeah.
Army or Air Force?
Air Force.
Air Force.
They called it the Army Air Corps at that time.
Oh. Was he, now I don't know my military very well, but would he have been maybe a private or airman?
Well, he was Army. He was Army.
I mean, in other words, he wasn't like a high-ranking.
Well, he was promoted to lieutenant.
But back when you first met him,
Yeah.
was he not a lieutenant then when you first met him?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he already was
Because
a
he
lieutenant?
retired as a captain.
Okay.
But he went overseas.
So how did you meet him?
There, I was working at the Hammond's Cafe, and during the day I served as a waitress at the Hammond's Cafe.
Hammond's?
The Hammond Hotel? Or
Well, there was a hotel on one side, the Hammond coffee shop on the other side.
Like Hammond, like Hammond?
Yeah.
Apostrophe S? And is that in Magdalena? Is it still there?
No.
No, it's not there.
No, that wasn't there. That was in Albuquerque.
No,
Yeah.
that was in Magdalena, the
Was
Hammond
it in
Hotel.
Magdalena?
But didn't you work at the drugstore at the corner?
From working from Hammond's, I worked there until 3 o'clock. And from 3 o'clock, I went across the street to the
Drugstore?
yeah, to where we sold ice cream and malts.
Do you remember the name of that drugstore?
Oh, God, that's what I'm trying to think right now.
It's still there.
It's like, what is it? What was it? What was the name of it?
I might have a picture of it in this book. I'll
It
look.
was a picture of it because next door was the post office. And in the post office was where your daddy proposed to me. And that was on Valentine's Day. But what was the name? Kistler, Kostler? What was the name of the...
It wasn't a chain, right? I mean, did they have those things back then?
No.
Because I know Albuquerque had a Kresge, but Kresge was in Albuquerque downtown, long time ago.
I can't remember.
So he used to come into the Hammond's Cafe, and that's how you met him.
He ate there a lot. I used to hate him because he can keep his eyes away from me, and I get under the counter or something, and he'd still be looking. When we got to the cash register, then he started talking to me.
Now, eventually, then you moved to Albuquerque, raise a family, 3 kids. Here's one right there. I'm wondering when you don't really remember exactly when you started to vote. Do you remember being interested in politics at all, or voting, or government, or?
Excuse me, I still haven't got
I know.
rid of my cough.
I hope you're okay. I know you've been under the weather.
When I think I was, well, I think I started voting when I was in Albuquerque because I remember the grade school working on giving the numbers to vote, you know.
Well, did you work in the at the polls? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember anything about, because I'm guessing back in those days women were not running for office very much, were they, or?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I mean, that I can remember.
I've been sort of looking at the history, not a lot happens until much later.
Yeah, all I can remember was big men politicians. But I do remember when what's his name? Bill, what's his name?
Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Or Kennedy? Which one were you thinking of?
It was Clinton. It was Dave Clinton. That Daddy and I vote.
Oh, he died before then, so I don't know. It would have had to have been.
Who did we vote for then? When Daddy was in? Because we always voted Democrat.
Was it before John F. Kennedy? John F. Kennedy?
Oh, yes.
Was it before him that you were trying to remember?
Yeah.
So we're talking about a presidential candidate.
Yeah, because I remember voting for Kennedy, and I was working for the church when we heard the news at 12 o'clock that they had shoot. And I called Monsignor and told him about it. And he said, oh my God. And we had even taken Monsignor down close to Tijeras, because the president was coming. And Frank and I picked him up and took him to go meet him when there was a lot of people for Kennedy.
Imagine, yeah.
That was sad. He would have been the first Catholic president.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was president